my posts about this call on Insta stories. Okay.
Do you need us to smile for photo?
I was just like Shakeology, all the things.
She's getting all in.
Get all in at once and mark off product use. I'm gonna get this done today. Okay, so for those of you there's Jessica. Okay, so welcome to, this would be our third call. We had Arnaud last week, and Leslie kicked us off the week before. So we decided that since you've heard from Leslie, you've heard from Arnaud, so now we want you to hear from a successful coach that would be kind of considered your peer, although now she's a diamond. So she was an emerald, and now she's a diamond. So we're going to hear from Jessica Bowman. She's probably the most recent diamond on our team to date. So I asked Jessica to share with us. Did you press record, Leslie? Okay. I asked Jessica to share with us a little bit about what are her top 3 tips for moving your business forward. So first of all, congratulations, Jessica. And we're all very excited to hear from you. So I'm going to go ahead and unmute Jessica, unless Leslie, you want to add anything before we jump in?
No, I was just going to type in the chat. I said, I love hearing from new diamonds, because I feel like so many people like look at the business I have or that Anita has, and they're like, well, they've been doing this forever. And I think it's really fun to hear from new coaches, like what's working for them right now, like what they did, like was it a mindset switch? Did they just up their recruiting? Like what was that change that made them just go like, I'm going to be a diamond coach?
Yeah.
So I'm excited to hear.
After Jessica comes on, maybe you and I can just pop on and talk about that day that we went diamond, and what that looked like as far as what shifted. Because I remember clearly the difference. So Jessica, if you want to unmute yourself and just tell us a little bit about you, your background, why did you start coaching, and how'd you get started?
Okay. So I have been a coach since January of 2015. I actually joined with Beachbody 2 months before that with my coach, and I loved the challenge group. Like I loved that community. And, I had tried the gym. I had tried lots of free stuff. I had done lots of things. And with a little kid at home, I just knew that, like, realistically, I was not going to get to the gym. Like, it was becoming more and more obvious with my husband's work schedule. That just wasn't going to happen for me. And so when the opportunity to like, hey, you can do this at home. I had done at-home workouts before, like things I'd bought off infomercials, not Beachbody, but like a Pilates something or other and Taibo. Like I'd done all that, and I really enjoyed them. So this was like, but you also got this group, and you didn't get that with those things. So I fell in love with it, and I lost 22 pounds in my first 2 months doing PIO and drinking Shakeology. And so, of course, 22 pounds, people start going, hey, what are you doing? Like, I want to do that. And I didn't really know anything about coaching. So I messaged my coach, Mona Brown, and I was like, hey, do you have a link or something? Like, they want to do this with me. And she's like, why don't you just become a coach? And I was a skeptic. I was like, is that going to cost me a lot of money? I don't have money for like inventory, because I was thinking things like Avon, Mary Kay, where they have to like have things in stock. And I was like, I can't afford that. Like I'm broke, like I can barely buy this challenge pack. So, she actually went, she's like, hey, come to this thing with me this weekend. There was a Super Saturday weekend, and I was hooked because the community is my jam. Like that's my thing. I love this community, our team. I love my challenge groups. I love all of it. And I was like, okay. She's like, you get your $40 back. It's not going to cost you anything extra. There's like the $15 a month, but you get discounts. You don't have to have inventory, yada, yada, yada. So I was like, okay, I'll just give it a try. And I told my husband I was going to do it. And he's like, half listening. Okay, whatever, do whatever you want. So, so I did, and I started bringing people on and bringing people to the community. And I have to say, because I think this trips a lot of people up, I have never had a family member. I mean, I've signed my husband up, right? But like, I've never had a family member join me, not a sister, a brother, a mom, a cousin. So like, if your family's like, nope, I'm not joining you. There's lots of families that are like, that's a scam. I think Leslie even shared when I was there that like some of her family still thinks it's a scam, even as successful as she is. So don't let that like discourage you. We do want to reach out to our warm market, but also understand that some of those people are also going to be some of your biggest skeptics. So, I mean, my mom is like, yay, go you. But she's not like on my team, you know what I mean? So, the biggest thing that's helped me build is staying consistent. I have never had a month where I would like, or a day where I wasn't like plugged into the team, my challenge group, leaning in. Leaning in has been a really big thing. So with staying consistent, this past year I hit SC All-Star. So I would only miss it like 2 months out of the year. And I would give myself a pass on that. I'd be like, well, I was working and it's no big deal. SC is not that big a deal. It is a really big deal. So December of 2017, I was like, okay, that's enough. I'm never missing Success Club again. Like, I'm hitting this goal. So it wasn't even that my goal was Diamond. My goal was to not miss Success Club. And Diamond just sort of like fell in line with that. It just kind of like, that was the end result this past year of hitting Success Club. And so I had to stay consistent with my activities. I am not a 50 invite a day person. I've tried it. Now, during Team Cup months, I like go hard because I build a lot of momentum there. But like my regular day, I'm like 10 to 20. You know, if I've got like extra time, I'll come back and do more invites. That's always what I go back to doing once I've done all my activities. Inviting's like the next thing that I do. And so I stay consistent with that though. Like realistically, okay, I'm going to do 10 invites. I'm going to do all the things. And this past year, what I added in, I got the app Sloth. I don't know why it's called Sloth. I guess it's to make you not a sloth. But it was like $3.99 on the App Store. And what it does is I can set a daily to-do list. I can assign times. So I've used the times that are on the business activity tracker, and it times me. So I'm being able to be really productive and focused, because what was happening is I'd be inviting, but I'd be thinking about how I needed to do a post, how I needed to be added to my network. I'd be thinking about all the other activities instead of focusing on that task. So it's helped me to stay streamlined. So for that 30 minutes, I'm just inviting. Like that's all I'm doing. My timer's going to tell me when it's done. And then I can move on to the next task. So for me, just having a timer that says, and I've even added in some like things for myself. Like I want to play piano 15 minutes a day. I'm including that. Like I'm including my self-care and my things into it, just so I'm consistent with that too. I'm working on being consistent all around. So when I set the goal for SC, it was like, this is a non-negotiable. It made me work really hard, just on my own mentality, on my own, like, I don't want to send this invite right now, but I'm going to, especially those ones that scared me, right? The people that I'm like, ooh, they're going to say no, freak me out. And what started to happen is like the end of the year, the last like 4 to 5 months, I was hitting SC a lot sooner. Like my momentum had built because I was doing all those activities. SC's happening like faster for me. And again, not because I'm like a crazy SC number. So Sloth is the app that I use. And then the business activity tracker, I went ahead and like printed them all, spiral bound. I'm just checking off the activities. And then at the end of the day, I'm circling what I missed or what I feel like I didn't like give my all, like I could have done better here. So I can look at the end of the week and go, you really kind of blew this whole, like maybe adding to my network. Maybe I didn't add enough to my network that week. Like, oh, like 3 days out of 4, you really didn't add that many. Then I know I need to up that game the next week. And then objections. I think objections are what trip a lot of us up. I know when I talk to my team, I'm not sure, Heather, if there's an Android, but I can look into that for you. I know when I talk to my team, objections. So don't view objection as rejection. View it as an opportunity to learn more about the product or that objection and to find your voice. So I was talking to my corporate mentor the other day and she said, do you have trouble with like telling people about the price? And I was like, honestly, no, I don't anymore. And I used to, but now I don't because I know what we offer people. So if you don't feel confident in what you offer, and it might be because you don't feel confident in yourself, then you need to work on that. You need to dig into some PD there. We were talking on our team call last night about goals, and I was like, you're not just offering them like a workout and a shake, you're offering them the community. You're offering them like a community that's going to love on them every day. Like our group is full of people. Somebody gets in there and they're like, this is going on. Everybody's like, you're awesome. Keep going. You're great. Like all my challengers, all the coaches, like where else in your life do you ever go to the gym and you walk in and people clap for you? No, nobody claps for you. Nobody is like, hey, go girl. Nobody, right? Probably people don't even really speak to you, or they're like, I wish you'd get off that equipment or something, So that is something we provide people having the ability to be loved on in their life when they may have no one else that loves on them. And for me, that was Eric. For me, that was huge. That was huge. I needed like people to tell me that like just keep going. You've got this. You can do this. I've switched to morning workouts and my people are like, if we don't see you doing a morning workout, I'm calling you out. Like they're calling me out. So, we're holding each other accountable. And then hold on, I had one more. What was it? Oh, leaning in. So in the last couple years, my family's been hit with a lot of grief, a lot of illness for my kids. And my daughter spent 2 weeks in the hospital in November after a procedure that like had a horrible side effect. And what I often see happen, and it's tempting to do, is like somebody's going through a divorce or you're going through grief, is to lean away, and you really need to lean in. Like let the team support you. Reach out to your upline and be like, here's what I'm going through. Does that mean like when my father-in-law died, I wasn't sending invites for a few days, right? Like I wasn't like sending invites, but I was still touching base with my team. And I was still saying like, this is really hard. And I was still letting them be a part of that journey with me instead of being like pulling away and saying, well, things really suck. And no one could possibly understand how much things suck right now. And that's not to say that things aren't going to be hard, but you have to lean in. And let the business be like that thing. Like for me, when it feels like other things are falling apart, I can rest in the fact that I am like fulfilling a purpose. Like I'm helping other people in what might be a really dark, difficult time for them, just giving them like a little light and the ability to like feel stronger and healthier and happier and build their own business and make their own income. So team is huge for me. So those are my top 3 things. Just staying consistent with the activities, not running from objections, and leaning in. Those are my top 3. So that's me. I don't know if anybody has questions or
Yes, questions. If you want to pop them in. I mean, there's not that many people on. So if you
Yeah.
want to unmute yourself and just say, hey, I've got a question, please do. Or I'm just going to assume everyone is an expert genius. Well, while people are coming up with their questions, I just want to highlight a few things that I thought was really awesome. I heard you say love 10 times, I think. Like,
Yeah.
I was counting, and that's a common theme for you, that you love the family, you love your team, and you fell in love with our product, you fell in love with the company. And this isn't just some hobby, side business hustle. I mean, make some money. This is your life. This is a huge part of your life. And you love your team like you love your family. And that says a lot about heart and hustle. Like, you've got to love this to be able to continue to do it. And when you're going to stand on a platform and tell people that you believe in something, you've got to truly believe it. And you can definitely see that in the way you communicated everything today. I also want to highlight that you started in 2015. So you didn't become a diamond coach overnight. I mean, it did take a long time, but the common thing was consistency. You just kept going anyway. And I know a lot of people can get tripped up with not being successful enough right away. But something I always try to highlight is that the average 6-figure earner in a multi-level marketing or network marketing direct sales situation, I've read that it's anywhere between 5 to 10 years, leaning more towards 10 years. It takes time. This is an actual business. If you want to build a solid foundation, build a good, big team, you've got to be in it for life. It can't be, you just have to decide right now, like, Anita, is this your thing for life, or are you just kind of toes in, toes out? And that's the same decision I had to make when I went diamond, was like, are you doing this or not, man? Like, is this for real, or are you just playing around? And that's when I said that for me, it was 10 months. And I was like, light bulb, boom. I am dedicating my life to this.
Yeah. I think seeing somebody like last year, seeing like Emily Faber, that was like a light bulb moment for me, because and she's even said recently, people are like, she became a number 3 in 10 months. She's like, actually 5 years. Like, she was like, it wasn't overnight. And I think I was starting to get that mindset of like, I've been doing it so long and I'm not as successful. And instead, I'm just like, you know what? I'm just doing my thing. I'm just reaching out to people. Just doing the actions, like, will bring the result that I want. Just keep doing the actions.
Yeah. And then I love what you said about leaning in. And most people tend to shy away from opening up and being vulnerable. So if something bad happens in their life, there's 2 different people. There's the one that tells everybody everything, all the details. And then there's the one that shies away and backs away. And I've gone through some grief since I've been a coach for 6 years, and I've gone through lots of grief as a coach. And my gut reaction was to lean away. But then what does that tell my team, right? I want my team to know that they're my family too. And so I love that, what you said about, instead of leaning away and shying away, tell people what's going on and come together as a team and say, okay, what can we do to move forward together? Mm-hmm. Okay, Christine had a question. How often do you follow up after 2 follow-ups? And they had said yes after first follow-up and phone combo, then nothing after second follow-up.
I honestly just keep following up. Like, every month they're going to get a message from me until they say, like, until they either block me or tell me to go away. Like, especially if they reached out to me first and I'm like, girl, you started this. I did not start this. But yeah, I just keep following up. And I have so far only had like 2 people in 4 years block me that I know of. I mean, that I was in conversation with. So most people, I keep it really casual. Like, I'm not trying to like, bug you, but you said you were interested. I just want to make sure, like, or do you want me to take you off my follow-up list? And most people are like, no, keep following up. Thanks for following up. Just not ready yet, or not ready to commit, which then opens that, like, well, why aren't you ready to commit? Like, what's holding you back? a little tough love, but like mostly love with a little tough.
Christine, there's, I forgot what the book I read, but it does take about 5 exposures before someone even starts to consider. I know I've talked to Raina a bunch about this because she's the follow-up queen. And I'm like, seriously, how often? Like, are you really following up 8 times? She's like, yes. I'm like, really? We've had this conversation. And I'm like, I will not follow up 8 times. But I should. That's something I need to learn to do. But yeah, follow-up is key, right? So important.
Yep. And sometimes if you don't follow up, they're gonna like go on Beachbody and like order it themselves. Like I've had that happen when they've fallen through the cracks, and then I'm like, oh, you want me to be your coach now? You know, like, so it taught me that like, don't leave the follow-ups on the table. I mean, they can say no, but did you die? You did not die from them saying no to you. Okay, you'll live.
I love it.
Heather had asked up a little way. She wanted to know if you're just straight out like cold messaging, cold inviting, like from Instagram, Facebook, or stories, or are you like kind of getting to know them first, like building a little relationship and then inviting?
I've kind of tried, I'm still kind of like trying out a few different things. I've been recently just thanking people for watching my story, and then like if it's something where I notice that they're consistently watching like my workout, then I'm like, you know, okay, I'm going to send them just like a, hey, thanks for watching. I appreciate it. Have you given any thought to doing what I do or whatever? Cold messaging. I mean, I usually don't, but on Instagram, I do more often. On Facebook, I don't, because I feel like those people are different. Instagram people don't seem to get so like their panties in a wad and be all, I can't believe you're messaging me. Most of them don't care. They'll just unfollow you if they care. So Facebook, they make the post about how people are messaging them, and I'm like, whatever. So yeah, it's kind of a mix. I guess I don't really have a good answer there. I just kind of feel it out. I haven't tried the like, thank you for watching, then sharing a bit about me. I haven't tried that one yet. So I just kind of try things out, try out certain messages, and if they're working really well, then I just keep sending that same one to new people. So
do you do a lot of calls to action on your pages?
I do. I do a coaching call to action. My goal's been twice a week, and then challenge group twice a week. So I'm kind of alternating that a little bit, and then always in my stories. Like my stories are basically every day is a call to action, right? Yeah. Like I might not be putting like, hey, join my group, but I'm like talking about how awesome it is. So
do you do better with calls to action or better with personal invites? What yields more success?
Probably personal invites. I found Instagram and Facebook, I find when I put up like a call to action, I'll get like 10 likes. But like if I just reach out to people I've added, or like my follow-up list is huge now because 4 years, like it's pretty huge. And so I just keep going back to those same people. Yes, I agree, Leslie, too passive. Like people just don't, I mean, I've tried the whole like drop an emoji. Now I do well with those just brief ones where I'm like, who wants to lose 20 pounds in the next, 2 months? Like I'll get people dropping it with that because I didn't really like tell them what they're going to get. I don't know, for whatever reason, that seems to work.
Yeah.
I was curious, I assume, I know you do calls to action on your feed. Do you do calls to action in your stories? And do you find like using the like drop your email or like click like, yes, I'm interested, or I want more info or whatever, polls to be a good way that you're reaching people too?
I am finding my people do not like polls. The people who follow me don't like that. Like, even if it's nothing to do with how, like, I will get like 150 people watched and 2 clicked a choice, I'm like, it's not that difficult. I don't know. So I think just reaching out to people who watch my stories seems to be working the best. Like if they've watched my coaching story, I reach out and say like, hey, you watched it, are you interested? And a lot of those people are like, yeah, send me some more info, or, you know, if I've got a sneak peek or whatever. So definitely putting the call to action in there, and then just reaching out to the people that watched it, whether they drop their email or they vote or not, I'm still reaching out to them. If they clicked watch on my story, they're getting a message. So.
Let's see. Christine just asked, do you sign more coaches or more challengers? Like, what's your process there? If you bring them on as challengers, let them have a great experience and become a coach, kind of like you did? Or how do you decide like who you invite to coaching, like straight off the bat?
That has been, so I stopped off, okay, two different things. When there's a launch and they can get in a coach test group, I always suggest they do the coaching, right? So they can get in the coach test group. But if it's just my regular monthly group, then I often just sign them up as a challenger and then reach out after 2-3 weeks, see how they're liking their Shakeology, and then offer coaching. Or, you know, if they're doing great in the challenge group, then I'm like, hey, you're really rocking this. You could really inspire like a lot of people, like out, you're already inspiring our group. You can inspire people. And I offer it that way. I felt like I was, and I know people do this differently, I felt like I was discounting coaching by often calling it discount coaching. Like if they love the products past that first month, that's one thing, but I didn't want to just be like leading with the discount. I guess I felt like I was doing that. Like I want more people who want to build a business. They want to make it a business. So mostly challengers, unless it's a launch, and then they have to be a coach to get in those groups. So I offer it for that.
Leslie, will you share that language that Trina Gray uses about that Jen Delvaux kind of shared with you about?
Yeah, I thought this was really great. And you guys, I actually tried this last night in my stories. Trina Gray had like broached this topic. And a fellow coach, Jen Delvaux, told me about it at Super Saturday. And she just said, instead of saying like, are you, you know, would you be interested in learning more about what I do or becoming a coach, or like that coach lingo where people immediately associate that with like, I'm going to have to coach someone, like that's so scary, or like I could never, you know, do that. She's like, I'm just asking them right now, would you be interested in joining my team? You know, would you like to learn more about joining my team? Because I think most people, like Jessica mentioned in the beginning, are in for the community. Like that's not scary. Like the community, the support, the discount, like all that stuff feels really great and positive and not scary. And then of course, once they have like a positive, you know, experience and a successful transformation, like that belief is born. And then of course, being a coach isn't scary anymore. But I tested it out last night on my Instagram stories, and I literally just kind of like changed my lingo. Instead of like saying like become a coach or like be on the next trip, I was like, have you ever considered joining my team? And I changed just like that subtle tweak of like joining my team. I even did a poll and said, I can't remember what the first option was, but the second one was like, yes, I want to join your team. And like, as of this morning, and I did this at like, you know, 10 o'clock last night, I'd already had 20 people that were like, yes, I want to join your team. And then like a couple people had clicked the like, I want more information about your team or whatever. So like that simple of a switch. But I think like women in general, like those, we're in for the community, we're in for the support. Sometimes it's like all that other stuff that seems scary, and it's just because they don't know yet, right? So maybe a little easy tweak.
Like, even saying like you can build a business could be intimidating to some people because they don't know what that means or what that requires. And if they've ever seen anyone else like build like a brick and mortar business, they're like, oh my gosh, that's a lot of work. Like we work hard, but we work a lot fewer hours for our income, right? And we don't have all the overhead and stuff. So yeah, I like that language, joining the team.
Yeah.
That was a big hold up for me always coaching, because Anita has so many calls going on. And I was like, oh yeah, what if I sign up people? Am I supposed to do some calls as well? Am I supposed to be, doing these as well and factoring them into them? And she's like, no, you'd be doing a call with like 1 or 2 people. It wouldn't take that much, and you can just fold them into my calls. And it's something like, I don't know, with people, it doesn't really click. So saying joining my team is helping them understand that I'm not going to teach you to do this by yourself at first.
Right.
You're just going to be folded into our team. So that is smart. When I heard that at Super Saturday 2, I was like, yeah, that was kind of the mindset shift that I had recently as well. So.
Yeah, I love it. So everyone has to go try it today and report back.
Okay.
Do it in a post, do it in stories, and report back.
I think that's one other thing is like you all are so helpful, Leslie and Anita, about sharing like, this is what I'm doing, give it a try. I give the stuff a try. If it works, it works. If it doesn't, I don't keep doing it. We all have different audiences, right? Like I think that's important too. It's just like, give it a try, see what happens. And if it doesn't seem to be working, then don't do it.
Yeah, absolutely. It's definitely trial and error. Over the last 8 years, trial and error.
Follow Leslie's Insta stories. They're pretty amazing. I've actually never
What?
sat down.
You've never watched them.
They're so
Hey,
cool.
don't feel bad. She doesn't watch my Insta stories. She watches nothing that I post. I have to go show her.
I don't know why. Maybe it's because I don't want to cloud my judgment. Like, oh, what are they doing? But this is pretty
Eric, it's funny you said that because my husband was like, are you even seeing my posts on my page? So I set up the notification so when he posts, I get a notification.
You get
like,
notifications? That's smart.
Go, and I like it, and I say, great job, babe, or whatever. He was like, are you even looking at my page? I'm like,
Yep.
Nope, I wasn't.
I wasn't too hurt, but a little bit.
I love it. All right. Well, if there's no other questions, we can wrap, let you guys go and go implement what you've learned here today from Jessica in your business and just help you make that decision to just success club all year, run forward with your business, just decide to do it. I know I had that moment in my business where it was like just a decision, like I just need to do this. And then all of a sudden, like it just clicked. It didn't get easier, but it was just a choice. And I decided to show up for myself and my business and like never look back.
We said in the beginning that we'd talk about like that transition.
Yeah.
There were decisions for me. It was like I was doing this, but also watching 8 hours of Netflix and drinking a bottle of wine every day. I was doing this, but also doing that other thing. And so when I got to the point of like, okay, I'm at a crossroads. Am I all in? Am I going to sacrifice anything else in my life to do this? Because once you start making sacrifices in your comfort zone, you start to really have more buy-in. Once you start taking away things like television, as much television. So at that point, I was like, no more 8 hours of Netflix, no more Netflix at all, no more bottles of wine every night, like every minute of my day, because my family's worth it, because I want to make $1 million a year. I have to sacrifice now so I can live like no one else later. So I got rid of the hours and hours of Netflix. Granted, for your sanity, watch a show here and there, but like, stop with the 5 hours of reading.
Well, we make sure if we're going to watch a show, we make sure to do it together so we can count that as couples time. Like we try to find a show together, not just like leave mom alone. I'm going to have a glass of wine and watch some Netflix. You're like, no, that can be our cuddle time. That's what we do to like strengthen our relationship. And I don't feel like I'm just sitting there doing nothing.
And he tries to get fresh with me
every time.
Well, I was going to say, don't sacrifice family in your relationship for the business. Sacrifice the other extras. Because it's easy to get caught up in this. Like, I'm like, I love it. Especially when I'm in a conversation with somebody, it's going really well. But then my husband's like, hey, over here, you know. So when we're like hanging out, that's like phone away, we're hanging out. And what I'm sacrificing, is the like Netflix binging I was doing on my own. So
Yeah. I had that conversation with Eric last year. I was like, you know what? I'm committing to 365 days of just family, just business, and my sanity. Like, I'm not including any extras for the next 365 days because I've got, goals that need to be tended to with my business. So that was the light bulb moment for me. And I think that's when Eric was like, okay, she's really serious. Like, this isn't just this little play thing on the side anymore.
Yeah. And then I went and played indoor soccer. I need at least something a little bit now and again, but I realized that I was doing way too much. Just like, oh, I need a moment. That wasn't productive at all.
I need a glass of wine and 3 hours of Game of Thrones.
So I'm on day 4 now. No alcohol, no caffeine, no coffee, no soda, very little sugar.
No fun.
I feel great. And apparently I'm really boring now.
Where did my date go?
Yeah.
He's even doing calls upstairs by himself.
Not hounding over your shoulder.
All right, guys. Leslie recorded this, right?
Yep, we're good to go.
Send it to your team anybody that didn't make it on today that are in the Emerald group. And we'll see you guys next week.
bye.
Bye, guys. Thank you.
If you could think of anybody you want to hear from, just let us know.